Morning Grind with Pork Rinds.
Welcome to the show.
It is a Tailgate Thursday right here on the Morning Rant, presented by your friends at Green Heating and Cooling. Once again, Green has been getting it done since 1971. They can get it done for you too. Call Green Heating and Cooling today. They are a tradition of comfort. I'm here with the Golden Boy, Will Cooper, on a Thursday as we chop it up, the world of local sports right here into your living room or wherever you may be listening from this morning. We've got folks that have been listening really from all over the place on the app. Again, our stream, the numbers have taken off. We're continuing to build our audience really all over North Georgia and beyond. I mean, we have some people that are listening from out of state, even out of country, which is kind of odd to me. I don't know if those are legit people or if they're just, spying on us from another country, trying to, figure out what we're doing over here. I don't know. But regardless, we appreciate you being with us right here on a Thursday morning, no matter where you may be listening from, right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com. Hey, Coop, man, the Braves again winning another series. It didn't look good early in the week after they dropped the opener against the Marlins there. I think I called them the Florida Marlins yesterday by accident because that's still very much how I think of this team, but obviously rebranded to Miami several years ago. But nonetheless, the Braves do come back, win the final two games of the series, and they keep their series streak going.
Yeah, they do. And, one of the things that's most important to remember is that, the Miami Marlins are a very decent team, it seems like. Earlier in the year, we faced the Athletics and kind of felt disappointed about dropping a game to them, but they're first in their division right now as well.
Yeah.
So, the Braves, although they have not lost a series, have played some really solid teams, including Arizona in that, who's, I think, just a game behind the Padres and then a couple of games behind the Dodgers. We faced some pretty stiff competition up until this point and done well with it. Another big series win, gets the day off, and then, the all-important first road trip in the NL East comes up as we head up to the city of brotherly love, which is a misnomer because that place hates the hell out of us.
No doubt, yeah. On to Philly for the Atlanta Braves. Hey, we're going to talk about that later in the show as part of our Tomahawk take right here on a Thursday as we're joined by our Braves insider, Will Cooper, again, the Golden Boy, joining us right here. We're going to move around. We've got a big weekend coming up. Of course, the Atlanta Hawks, NBA, NHL playoffs cranking up. We're going to talk a little free agency. We're spring football practice. Of course, I like to think of us as a good, lead-in show to Chuck Oliver, the king of college football, who does Southern Sports Today for us right here on the SportsPig at 11 o'clock. So our hour moves fast. I always say it's the fastest 1 hour in sports talk radio. But I do want to come back because it's the first time I've talked to you again since last week, since the Masters. And I know you're not like, Billy D and Big John in that you pay a lot of attention to golf. But we had a friendly wager there between all the hosts of the show. We picked our top 8, and when it all kind of fleshed out after Sunday, it was, Billy won by a stroke over Big John. You were a couple strokes behind them, and then I was a stroke behind you. So, I'm finishing up, last there, of course, by a stroke. But we were all, pretty much together because really we all picked a lot of the same people. I mean, pretty much there weren't a whole lot of unique picks, from one host to the other. And I'm sure for a lot of fans out there that maybe had similar office type pools or whatever, a lot of folks probably picked, the Scotty Schefflers and the Bryson DeChambeaus and the John Rahms and the Rory McIlroys of the world. And so, again, a lot of those played out. Some did, some didn't. But what was your biggest takeaway from the Masters last week?
Repeat win for McIlroy. That's a heck of an accomplishment. I have heard the ire of people because he hasn't played in tournaments like the rest of the guys have. He's been practicing with the Masters group trying to win that specific tournament. Congratulations. That just kind of seems stupid to me. Like, just play with everybody else. Obviously the other thing is DeChambeau, just not even making the cut. Rough start for him, but overall it was a good tournament. Obviously there was a little drama at the end, with Scheffler kind of making a push, but at the end of the day, credit to McIlroy. Obviously, he's a great golfer, but I do kind of hate that he just practiced on that course instead of playing the rest of the tournament with everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of, criticism, there was obviously some attention brought to the broadcast, at the end of the tournament as well. We talked about that yesterday, how folks have come out and kind of criticized, CBS coverage of it. Not necessarily Jim Nantz by any means. Nantz is a legend, but just, missing from a video standpoint some of the shots and things down the stretch, particularly on 18. And, we said it yesterday, if you're going to miss, you got to miss early in a game or a tournament. I know you're on the air for a long time. You're covering a lot of different things. There's really a lot of moving parts when you talk about putting together a golf broadcast, but you can't miss in the most critical moments or you're going to draw the criticism.
Yeah, you are. And look, golf is such a boring sport. Again, I think it's more of a game than a sport, not really athletic as much as it is a skill.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not like they move fast. It's not like you don't know where they're going to be.
Right.
So that makes it more frustrating than, missing I can't even put something comparable to it, but there's just really no excuse for that.
Yeah, it's like missing a home run and the camera's panning to right when the ball went to left field. Or something. I mean, it's maybe a bad analogy there, but nonetheless, still kind of the same thing there. We were talking a lot about the Masters again, Bryson DeChambeau. We talk about it being such a mental game. It's really a 6-inch game, as we talked about, the 6 inches between your ears. And once again, DeChambeau just didn't have it, man. I mean, he obviously can outdrive anybody on the tour, but again, those irons just not working, hit a lot of bad shots. One thing that we didn't really talk a lot about was that he has his 5-iron he actually made with a 3D printer. And somebody even asked him about that in an interview, and he's like, I'm not going there. That's a conversation for another, that's just ridiculous, But, it makes you think, okay, if you're not playing well, maybe you need to stick to the name brand type stuff there. I don't know. A lot of these guys do custom make certain clubs and things, just like, Tour de France bike riders. They rip they have a different label than what they're actually sponsored by or what. I mean, I get it, but at the same time there, when you play like that, I mean, you're going to, again, draw some criticism from people that are going to start asking questions like that. Well, maybe do you need to be making your clubs? I don't know. I don't know how common that is on the tour.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a 6-inch game. It's why you're no good at it and why I find it boring. I'm used to working with more. But you do have to wonder about, some of the stuff with them making their own clubs. I feel like 3D printing, it's not the same metal. I don't fully understand how that works, but I feel like it's normally plastic.
Right.
So I don't fully understand how you can simulate that, but I suppose he's got enough money to... Maybe there is a 3D printer that prints metal. I'm not sure. That's outside my wheelhouse.
Well, at that income level, you can pretty much do anything you want to do, I guess, except hire somebody to drive your car when you're inebriated. But other than that, I mean, it's one of those things. But because you got to go back and you get the form of the club from the printer. You got to go back and you got to cut in the grooves though into the face and different things like that. There's still things he talked about that process in an interview. DeChambeau did, and like I said, he's probably not the only one on the tour that does that. I'm sure other guys maybe custom fit certain clubs. Depending on the thing. But again, Bryson not even making the cut. John Rahm, the two top live golfers nearly not making the cut. Rahm made the cut and kind of, rebounded a little bit and kind of had a somewhat of a respectable finish there. But, nothing like what Scotty Scheffler did, being down 12 strokes and coming within a stroke of forcing a playoff there. So, again, but kudos once again to Rory McIlroy winning back-to-back, which is the 4th time in Masters history. As we turn the page now, and again, for PGA, man, it's on to the Phoenix Open. I don't know if you've ever seen any of that kind of stuff. Again, I know you're not a big golf guy, but the old reminiscent Tiger Woods, a hole-in-one there on 16, the traditional hole at the Phoenix Open where everybody gets loud and crazy. You feel like you're at a football game. Everybody starts screaming as soon as they hit the ball. It's that par 3 that gives you that opportunity for the hole-in-one. And, I mean, that is the most like beer-guzzling, loud golf crowd. It's like something out of Happy Gilmore, right? I mean, you just don't see it very often, but that's the next stop on the tour right there. So we'll see. Maybe one of those guys, like Lowry had a hole in one or two, and then of course he fell apart late in the Masters. But maybe one of those guys can create a little bit more magic out there at the Phoenix Open. We were talking a little bit, and I kind of want to dive in with you too about spring football practice. And we talked about this being kind of a lead-up show to Chuck Oliver. Admittedly, and by now, everybody, if you've been paying attention to the show, you know that our very own Will Cooper is a big Alabama Crimson Tide fan. His new nickname is Roll Tide Willie in honor of the actual Roll Tide Willie. But there, Alabama spring game, of course, was last weekend. Georgia Tech amongst the teams, of course, wrapping up this weekend. And so we're going to talk a lot more about that tomorrow on the Happy Hour Friday edition of the Morning Rant. But your take on Alabama? I know there was some stuff that kind of came out of the spring scrimmage and in the entire spring, with the quarterback battle, some of those different things in particular. Why don't you share some notes with us and your take on this Alabama team?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, big disappointment was Noah Rogers, the transfer from NC State, was kind of supposed to fill in the role of Jeremy Bernard or Isaiah Horton type player from last year for the Tide, and he got hurt. Coach DeBoer told us this week that he is not going to be available, at least to start the season. So we don't know a timetable yet, but a pretty significant injury for Noah Rogers. And then, the biggest story of the whole thing was Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, who are the two guys trying to figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback. Austin Mack ended the day with no touchdowns, 2 picks. Keelan Russell had 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, had a rushing touchdown as well. I think Keelan's kind of solidified himself as the more talented of the two. Yeah. And then the other big thing out of there was 2 wide receivers, one name that people might know, one name that people probably aren't familiar with in our area. But one of them is Austin Meadows at 6'5". He looks like he's going to be wide receiver number 2. Yep. And then Cedarian Morgan is a guy out of Mobile, Alabama, has affectionately earned the nickname Gulf of Mexico since he's from down there. Yeah. And he is 6'4", and both of those guys very impressive. And that would leave your guy Ryan Williams Coleman, changed his name to Ryan Williams Coleman, right? But he's now going to be the slot receiver. So they have as good of a receiving core as they've had maybe since the Tua era with Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, those type of guys. Right. So the offense should be fine. The defense looks pretty good, but that's kind of some broad view notes that people have kind of looked at with the Tide so far. Yeah, absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see. I really do like Russell. I mean, I think he's obviously the more talented of the two. I guess the next question is, how much stock do you put into the spring? Obviously, some of that will carry over into fall practice, summer practice, fall practice when they get in there. But I would think at this point, excuse me, I think Russell's done nothing but just put more distance between himself and the rest of that room. Yeah, I would say so. Again, Austin Mack is a guy, 4-star, very impressive quarterback. People saw him in the Rose Bowl. If they still had that game on, I don't know why. Even I didn't. But, he's a transfer from Washington, 4-star out of high school. Keelan Russell is different because he comes from Duncanville, Texas, 5-star, one of the highest rated players ever out of the state of Texas, owns, I think, 3 different state records. I think he has passing touchdowns, passing yards, and total touchdowns in the state of Texas high school football. So that's, people are aware how big of a deal that is. Yeah. And he just looks as talented as he has in certain times. And I think that with another off-season of development, so through summer and through the fall, I think that he's going to be your starter. But either is really a good option, I would say. Yeah, there you go. Again, the recap there of Roll Tide Country in Tuscaloosa. Again, the spring game taking place over the weekend right there from our insider, Will Cooper. Hey, we're going to continue the discussion on the other side of the break, talk a little bit about recruitment, talk about early National Signing Day, some of those things, of course, that have happened throughout this week right here in the world of sports. Again, we are the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. It's the Morning Rant, this Tailgate Thursday, presented by your friends at Green Heating and Cooling right here on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
Big opinions of the big games from the big mouths.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's the Morning Rant on WPGY, the Sports Pig, North Georgia's home for ESPN Radio.
Sit down.
And a Tailgate Thursday right here on the Morning Rant. Again, presented by your friends at Green Heating and Cooling. Dave Garner with you till 11 o'clock this morning with the Golden Boy, the Braves insider, Will Cooper. We're going to talk about Braves here in just coming up here in the next segment with our Tomahawk take. And we will also visit the Cooper Predictor as well later in the show. The reason being, now usually we do the Predictor on Friday, but we are going to be on location tomorrow over in Dalton tomorrow morning, beginning at 10 a.m. as we do the show live from the front lawn of Foundation Wealth in Dalton, Georgia. Come by and see us. We'll have a stress ball for you maybe or something, but we want to encourage you guys to come by and see us. And then tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, a big afternoon for Murray County High School as the Lady Indians State Championship basketball team will be honored. A parade will take place. It's going to be called the Parade of Champions. It's going to feature this year's state champions. Also, the 1965 Murray County girls basketball state champions. And so, again, that was the last one, that was won. So again, both teams riding in the parade, and then also a couple of the Rec League state championship teams as well. So again, we're going to be there tomorrow at 4 o'clock. The parade leaves from Murray County High School. It'll go around Gladden Middle School and kind of make a big loop, and then finish back up at the high school. Our sister station, I just found out too, is going to be there as well. 101.1 The Pulse is going to be there. So we will both kind of be broadcasting simultaneously right next to each other tomorrow. So come by both the Pulse and the Pig tents. We will be there at Murray County High School to wrap up the work week on a Friday, and we'll be broadcasting live till around 5 o'clock. Again, our coverage brought to you by your friends at Chatsworth Forum, home of the fantastic deals, and also our friends at Sean Chapman Funeral Home, again, located in Chatsworth. Both of them very big supporters of Murray County High School and North Murray High athletics, and we appreciate them being on board with us there tomorrow. Hey, Coop, talking a little bit about, National Signing Day has kind of gone, players still making their choices. And we were talking about this yesterday, kind of joking around. They're signing for at least their freshman year of college, because of the climate that we're in right now, at least making their first year commitment known. It used to be when you would sign on signing day, you would anticipate that you would be at that same school, throughout your 4 years or whatever of eligibility. But we live in a much different time now, of course, when it comes to college athletics. So, your thoughts on signing days, early signing days, this, that, and the other, as players kind of start to make their, make their choices somewhat known, at least for the first part of their student-athlete career.
Yeah, well, with Trump's executive order, I'll be interested to see what that changes with signing day. So for anybody who's not aware, 30-second overview of it. Essentially, you can transfer once, no penalty. If you transfer a second time, then you have to sit out for a year. So we're back to almost the days of old.
Right. Yeah.
I do believe there are exceptions, including coach changes. Family matters can also change, not the show, but, your own personal thing. And I think that's kind of the only two exceptions. Saban signed on with it, said it was what, he kind of had envisioned for it. So, if Saban signs on, I will gladly admit that I'm a brainwashed follower of the coach, and whatever he says, I will gladly follow. So, I'm good with it.
You know me, I'm not even a Tide fan, but I'm kind of the same way. I mean, it's kind of hard to not have some sort of level of respect for Nick Saban, no matter if you're a Georgia, Tennessee fan, whoever, or even the Auburn. I mean, for crying out loud, it's Nick Saban, and so you can say what you want. But I think people do respect his opinion regardless of anything else. And so he is kind of one of those that's been kind of put in that position of kind of taking, being the seer, I think, of a lot of that. And so, I think there needs to be something. And we've talked about it right here, even on this program. The NCAA's inability to lead, and to make these kind of decisions to the point, because a lot of people are like, well, why does the president have to get involved? Why does the federal government, they shouldn't be sticking their nose in, sports, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. You hear all those arguments, but it's like, yeah, but if you understand that there's really no leadership and that things are kind of out of control, sometimes it's necessary for another entity or whatever that may be to kind of step in and at least provide a little bit of leadership. And so I will credit, Trump with that of like, hey, we got to fix parts of this game. And I think it's just been understood even within the college circles that number one, the calendar needs to change, as far as recruiting and things like that going, NIL, a transfer portal, all that kind of stuff. But the other thing is obviously all the transferring around that people are doing, because it really has gotten out of control. I mean, you have players now that are, playing 4 years that are playing at 4 different schools, over those 4 years. And, good for them to try to better themselves. If the system allows them to do that, they'll take advantage of it. But I'm just one of those people. I'm a little bit more of a traditionalist, to be honest with you. Some people don't have a problem with that, a kid bettering their situation. But I just hate to see so much moving around. I think that, I grew up in a time where there was a little bit of a penalty, or a window at least, where you had to sit out a year, if you were going to transfer around a lot. So I'm kind of used to that. And I may be in the minority, but I'm kind of glad that maybe we're getting back to a little bit of that. I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I'm glad. And the other part of the executive order that I really liked is that you get 5 years from either your date of graduation from high school or your 19th birthday, whichever comes first. And that you get 5 years, and that's it. There, you can't extend that. So, these guys like Diego Pavia that are as old as I am, when they turn, I think, what would that be, 23? When he turns 23, it's hey, go get a job application for McDonald's, bro. Quit going out there and acting like you're all this.
Right.
So let we'll get the almost said a word, but we'll get the crappy people like Diego Pavia out of the way, and we can let the actual kids play college football. Who would have ever thought?
Yeah, don't get us kicked off the air right here. So,
no. I don't like him.
There you go. No, I think that's a fair take, certainly. The world is ever changing. The landscape of college athletics as a whole. It's not just football. I know we talk a lot about football here, obviously being of this demographic, but really it does kind of trickle down to all sports and all levels. I mean, I've said it all along, even at the D2 level. You see it. Because it really affects all levels of football all the way down the ladder. So, again, a lot of things going on right now with college football right in the middle of spring practice. Our local high schools will be kicking off spring practice here shortly, and a lot of our high school baseball teams. I reached out to one of our athletic directors this morning. I'm going to try to arrange some coach interviews here over the next week or two, and maybe try to get some of our local coaches on as we continue to talk about high school sports in our area, and maybe even some college stuff too. So we're going to try to bring a lot to you right here on the Morning Rant, right here on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. Hey, did you see the story? And we've been talking about it a little bit, but there's a little bit more news to it right now. Diana Russini, of course, from The Athletic, who was the senior writer for the NFL. The pictures came out with her and, of course, Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, blah, 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 blah. You guys know the story at this point, but it does look like, I saw the other day where she has indeed resigned from The Athletic over this, and apparently it wasn't The Athletic that forced it. It was just her saying, look, I understand this has brought a lot of negative attention and so forth, so I'm just going to step away to try to get out of this right here. But regardless, usually, and it's like I've always said, I've said it right here, where there's smoke, there's usually fire, regardless of whether it was innocent or not. I still don't think it's a good look. And so, by her I'm not saying that by her resigning she's admitting guilt, but I think there's definitely more to the story that we still don't know.
Here's what I think happened. First of all, you have a woman that is trying so hard to get the spotlight for her entire career. She goes on radio shows, badmouths her husband, talks about, how she wishes she, Jimmy Garoppolo called her the night before her wedding and she was having doubts, all this stuff, right? I mean, just stuff that,
my gosh,
is awful.
Yeah.
And then here's what I think happened, though. I think The Athletic said, we need to see the texts that you and Vrabel had so we can determine if there was anything going on. And she said, I'll just resign.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. I think that there is some real stuff that happened and that they were trying to make sure that there wasn't anything, going on below board.
Right.
And there was, and she fell on the sword to protect Vrabel. And, Vrabel's got some hush money, it's
it's a perfect setup right there. Well, and again, look, I don't admittedly don't know her well. I mean, I've seen her report some here and there, but, not enough to really pay a lot of attention. So again, not saying anything about her personally. I don't know her. But again, it seems like some of the other stuff that's coming out that people are kind of posting online, there's some other people kind of coming forward saying, hey, this is kind of a repeated behavior. She may have a history of these types of relationships. And I understand when you're trying to get stories and things, you try to, you kind of have, personal relationships with people, not necessarily in that way. But even the Adam Schefters and even those kind of guys, they have their sources, right? They have people on the inside that feed them information. So again, not sure to what extent, she's willing to go to get that information. But it definitely seems a little fishy. So. And I'll just leave it at that.
Seems like she was willing to go to quite a length.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, exactly. So, again, a lot of different stories catching some wind here during this week. Hey, WrestleMania this weekend. Again, a 2-day event. You going to pay attention to it or not?
No, probably not. It's kind of like Auburn arguing that they're a decent program in any sport.
Oh, boy, here we go again.
It's just a figment of the imagination.
I knew that was going to happen at some point right here. Hey, Cody Rhodes, who spends time, if you've listened to the station over the last couple of days, they've had Cody Rhodes on, Rich Eisen has on his program, which airs 1 to 3 right here on the Sports Pig. But yeah, Cody Rhodes, a Georgia boy, a Lassiter graduate. Down there in Cobb County, taking on Randy Orton, of course, in the main match on Saturday. And then on Sunday, the headliner is Roman Reigns against CM Punk. So, of course, Dom Mysterio, several other people in there as well. Trick Williams, the guy that came out of NXT, taking on Sami Zayn. So some good matches right there. I don't follow it, admittedly, near as much as I used to. But my son and I still occasionally will kind of pay attention and tune in. I grew up, of course, in that Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior era, and kind of got away from it because even in my 20s, even earlier in life, it kind of got off the rails there for a little while. Vince McMahon kind of went overboard. Everything kind of turned very, sexual in tone. Honestly, and it was just kind of like, okay, wait a minute now. This is kind of crazy, So, but I've kind of popped in and out of it over the years. But yeah.
Well, yeah, and I was going to ask you, when you're watching it, do you sit in your basement and drink a Cosmo when you're watching it, watching these, big dudes, rub around on each other? And
my goodness gracious, man.
Because I agree with you. It does seem, there's definitely a little bit of a sexual undertone to whatever's going on there. And, straight guy sitting in his basement watching it with a Cosmo would just make me really envision you on a Thursday night.
You would see it that way. It's so funny that you would see it that way because I wasn't going to take it there, but you did. So that does raise a few flags there of concern. No, but anyway, man, oh man, this show's getting off the rails here on a Tailgate Thursday. Appreciate you guys being with us right here on the Morning Rant. I promise on the other side of the break, we'll actually get back into some more sports talk as well. Hey, this is the Morning Rant right here. Tailgate Thursday edition on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. Living on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Make your home's air healthier. Green Heating and Cooling can help by installing a Bryant Evolution air purifier just for you. Using captures and kills technology, this highly advanced MERV 15 filter captures many select airborne pathogens. It also helps improve indoor air quality for both asthma and allergy sufferers by filtering air impurities like dust, pollen, and pet dander. Call to schedule an evaluation. Green Heating and Cooling, your top Bryant authorized dealer, whatever it takes.
We bring the heat. You bring the trash talk.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
It's the Morning Rant, live on the Sports Pig app and sportspigradio.com.
Back here on a Tailgate Thursday, presented by your friends at Green Heating and Cooling. Dave Garner with you till 11 o'clock this morning, right here on the Morning Rant. And I am joined by the Golden Boy, the Braves insider, Will Cooper. We'll talk Braves here in just a moment as we get set for our Tomahawk Take segment of the week right there. First, though, let's talk NBA. Again, the Atlanta Hawks opening up the playoffs on Saturday against the New York Knicks on Amazon Prime. Game 1, you're in the hunt right there, and then again another streaming service. But again, the majority of the series should be on NBC, nonetheless. There, but again, the Hawks as the 6th seed taking on the New York Knicks, almost a repeat of a few years ago when the Hawks made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. They started with the New York Knicks. They had some great moments with Trae Young in the Garden there, and some memorable moments that'll live with Hawks fans for a long time. But since then, Trae Young out. Hawks go 20-10 over their final 30. They get on a heater, and now here they are playing their way out of the play-in, which is a good thing, and into a normal seed there. So again, all the basically the NBA and NHL playoffs both kicking off full force on Saturday. So again, man, a lot of things going on starting this weekend as we get into that time of year.
Yeah, it is. When I looked at the Hawks matchup against the Knicks, a few things that I like, a few things that I'm worried about. I'll make it quick for you. First of all, a big concern is Karl Anthony Towns. We've seen some teams throughout the year try to put a wing on him, and then really your only other option would be a guy like Onyeka Okongwu.
Right.
I don't love that matchup. I think it opens up too much for the Knicks inside. So I would expect they'll put a wing on Karl Anthony Towns, but, maybe expect him to pick up, 20 a game, and you kind of have to live with that. One really good thing that I like, though, is that the Hawks are a great transition team.
Yeah.
And I think that they will do well with that. And I think that the Knicks are going to have to adjust to the speed of the transition.
Yeah.
And then back on the defensive side of the floor, I think that Dyson Daniel versus Brunson is a big advantage for the Hawks. I think that Dyson's going to be able to guard Brunson pretty well, and I think that that'll close up some things. So I think this is going to be a very intriguing matchup. I don't think it's going to be one-sided, and I think they did a big favor for themselves getting out of that matchup with Cleveland, because they've seen each other so much over the last couple of weeks, and then having to do it again for a 7-game series would be really rough.
Yeah, and kind of like we talked about on Tuesday with Billy D in here, I mean, obviously Brunson is kind of a game changer, but, if you have anyone on your team, Dyson Daniels is that guy, I think that can kind of be the equalizer, and if you can at least slow him down, you're not going to stop a guy like a Jalen Brunson, but if you can slow him down a little bit, and maybe get him off his average just a little bit, then you got a shot, and you've got enough scorers on this team now with the way that you play, like you said, in transition and some other things there to generate enough offense. But I like the heart and the hustle of this Hawks team, and I was even saying it the other day. Billy was giving me a hard time, and everything. But it's like, look, the Hawks are still going to have to prove to me, that they belong there. But I don't think it'll take much. I mean, I think they're definitely a team that earned their way in. They got hot, but hopefully they can keep that momentum going into the postseason.
Yeah, I'm with you, partner. I'm kind of on we'll wait and see. But I'll be watching as somebody that's not going to be expecting much. If you expect disappointment, you can't be disappointed. Yeah,
exactly. If you don't set the bar too high, then you're never going to be disappointed, right? Isn't that the quote from Dodgeball there from the great Peter LaFleur? If you don't set the bar high enough, then you never have to. But anyway, good words to live by right here. Hey, don't listen to us, man. All the kids out there listening, man, no. Raise the bar, man, and try to make it. So yeah, you don't want to look to us for being your role model or anything.
No, you don't want to be like us.
Yeah, especially if you've heard the show so far to this point here on this Tailgate Thursday. So again, a lot of things going on in the world of sports. A lot of things going on right now in the world of baseball. It's time for our weekly Braves Report.
It's time to chop on. Swung on and jolted high in the air. Deep right field. Back to the wall. A sonic boom out of the ballpark. Braves win it. From Truist Park to every corner of Braves country, we've got your daily dose of Atlanta Braves baseball. A walk-off grand slam, and this place erupts here in Atlanta, Georgia. Highlights, hot takes, and all things red, white, and navy. It's the Tomahawk Take on WPGY, the Sports Pig.
All right, so we're here. It only makes sense. We're here with our Braves insider, Will Cooper. And last week on the Tomahawk Take, again, presented by your friends at Northside Hospital, Cherokee, you were throwing out all kinds of next-gen stats. You had BAPTA, BIPTA, FLIPTA, CAPTA, whatever. I don't even know. You had all kinds of stuff on there. It sounded good. But, again, baseball is one of those sports, if you're a numbers geek, then it's the perfect sport for you. And I am a baseball guy, but I'm still learning a lot of the next-gen stuff. But wrap up this season so far, man. I mean, obviously we talked about the Braves. The streak's still going. They still have not lost a series yet. They're the only team in, the majors that can say that at this point. So, obviously, they've gotten off to a great start. We were talking earlier with our morning show co-host down the hallway at our sister station about Spencer Strider and Sean Murphy both doing a rehab start tonight in Rome with the Emperors. So, again, hopefully getting a couple of those guys back as well. So what do you make of this Braves team here in the first few weeks?
Hey, look, they're doing what they need to do, right? They've had moments where the starting pitching hasn't been there. The bullpens picked them up. The bullpens let them down a time or two. The bats are there. Dom Smith, arguably the greatest Atlanta Brave of all time.
At this point,
if he continues this streak, he'll get his number retired. But it's riding the hot hand right now until the reinforcements get here. Obviously the series win against Miami, was a little bit more high scoring than we would have wanted. Reynaldo Lopez really struggled in the early start, but came back and shut him down for the last 3 innings, gave him some relief. Obviously Bryce Elder last night, man. I mean, Bryce Elder belongs in a very serious conversation. Fun fact for you, Paul Skeens would have to pitch 22 complete games shutout to have a ERA the same as Bryce Elder currently.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
So, I mean, he's just on a different level.
Yeah.
The bats are doing well. We don't give Matt Olson enough credit. And by the way, I've got 2 trivia questions for you.
Okay.
One's more of a statement.
Yeah.
Ozzie Albies has now played more games with Matt Olson as his first baseman than Freddie Freeman. Can you believe that?
Wow. I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah. Man. Okay.
So that was kind of crazy.
Okay.
Here's your trivia question for the day. So Raisel Iglesias is now 5th in Braves all-time saves for the Atlanta Braves.
Right.
With 101. He picked up his 100th a couple days ago and 100th last night. Can you name me who is above him and if bonus points for the one below him?
Okay, I would say it's Craig Kimbrell. It's got to be
Kimbrell.
Kimbrell.
Yeah, he's number 1 with 186.
Okay, so he's number 1, and then the one behind Iglesias, say John Smoltz.
Well, I mean, if you can give me, 1 through 6, because Iglesias is 5th.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that there's 4 in front of Raisel, and then there's one behind him. So Raisel is number 5, you said, or number 4? Okay, so I would say John Smoltz
is number 2. Yeah,
is number 2. Kimbrell's 1, right?
Yep.
All right. What about Mark Wohlers? He's got to be 1.
Number 4.
Okay. And then I would say, I'm trying to think, I doubt Kent Merker. I don't think he would be one of them. Who am I missing right here? Man, you just threw this on me. See, this goes to show people out there. We don't set this stuff up to sound smart. I'm trying to think. Any old school?
Gene Garber is number 3.
Oh, Gene Garber. Oh, yeah, the old Sidewinder. That's right. Okay, Gene Garber's number 3. See, and I was around during those days, but it's just been so long. I've slept a couple times since then. So that's the top. So basically, that's your top 5, and then the one behind Iglesias, number 6. What era? Like what time?
90s.
Oh, okay. So let's see here. I'm trying to think. It would be
Loves New York.
Oh yeah. John Rocker. Oh my goodness. Yeah. How
John
could I
Rocker.
forget? Wow. Okay, great. Laying it on us right here as part of this week's Tomahawk Take. Little trivia information for you. Again, our friends at Northside Hospital Cherokee getting their money's worth. You were talking, Coop, about Dominic Smith, and he's kind of been a journeyman over the last few years. A guy that may very well have not even been on the roster had it not been for Jerks and Profar getting suspended. But signed a minor league deal with Atlanta this offseason, made the opening day roster. Of course, he lost his mother, less than 2 weeks before the season started with her battle with cancer. Hit the walk-off grand slam on the second night of the season on that Saturday night. So right now, .395 average basically. His on-base percentage 1099, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs through 14 games. You're right. I mean, it's going to be hard for him admittedly to keep that pace up, but if he does, he's going to retire as a Hall of Famer with the Atlanta Braves. He's played for about 5 or 6 different teams, spent the bulk of his early career with the Mets and the Nationals, so he's very familiar with the Atlanta organization from that standpoint, competition-wise. But, yeah, man, what a tear.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. And, I think the thing that if he continues, it's going to be really difficult is managing when Sean Murphy comes up because you're going to have to decide between either taking Dom Smith out of the lineup or Drake Baldwin out of the lineup when you start Sean Murphy behind the plate.
Right.
And, Sean Murphy's just, unless something crazy happens, he's just not going to bat 300. He's a 240, 250 guy.
Sure.
So...
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Murphy's kind of the backup just because of the offense that you get when you have Baldwin and you have Dom Smith in the lineup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Walt Weiss plays that, once he comes back there. Last night, just to keep it a little more recent, I mean, the Braves obviously 3 home runs last night. Matt Olson, Austin Riley, and Ozzie Albies all going deep. That's 3, 4, and 5 in your lineup right there as they beat the Marlins 6-3. Of course, they won 6-5 the other night. Of course, Dominic Smith hitting that, base clearing double in the 8th inning when the Braves were kind of staring at defeat, late in that ball game there after already having lost the first game of that series. So I think the biggest thing about the Braves that I've been impressed with so far has just been their resiliency, even in those moments where it didn't look good. And we would have seen it last year where they would have struggled to respond to a 10-4 loss like they had, on Monday night. Against a Marlins team that, like we said, not a lot of household names, good, young, strong talent. They've started well. I don't know if they can keep up that pace or not, but very much in position to take a series from the Braves. And Atlanta, again, just showing a lot of resiliency the other night. And, of course, last night just really putting the bat to the ball. So, again, the biggest thing I'll say, and we're up against our final break, is that the Braves are finding ways to score runs beyond just the long ball. Now, last night they got it done with the long ball, but I know the other night when they scored 13 runs, they only had 1 home run and all that. So it's nice to see this team be able to get guys on, Ronald stealing bases again, moving guys around, getting timely hits, something we didn't see really out of this lineup much at all last year.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right about that. And we owe a big apology to Ozzie Albies.
Yeah.
I mean, we came in, you and I both kind of like, oh, man, I don't know about this. And guys batting just shy of 300, 4 home runs on the year.
Yeah.
It seems like we've got 2018, 2019 Ozzie Albies back, at least in the first, 10, 15% of the season.
No doubt about it, and it's welcoming to see. Now, the analytics suggested during spring training otherwise. So, again, and I think that, and Dominic Smith even, by the way, credited some time that he spent with Chipper Jones during spring training as being a factor that's helped him out. I'm starting to wonder if maybe Ozzie and some other guys spent some time with Chipper as well, because it certainly seems to be paying off there. And, of course, they do have a new hitting coach and new leadership anyway. So, again, yeah, I like the direction of this Braves team. It's early in the season still, but again, it's hard to not get excited. And, of course, we're the new North Georgia home of the Atlanta Braves, an off day tonight. So no Braves game tonight, but they'll be back at it tomorrow, a 6:10 start in Philly. So, again, pregame coverage starting right here around 5 o'clock tomorrow. Right after we go off from the parade. So our parade coverage tomorrow from 4 to 5 will lead basically right in to a Braves pregame tomorrow. So, again, excited about that and looking forward to an excellent series, hopefully in Philadelphia, as the Braves start a little bit of a road trip. Hey, we're going to take our final time out. When we come back, we're going to run maybe a couple things through the Predictor, Cooper Predictor, and we'll talk about some other things, NASCAR standings, you name it, and much more in the final segment of this Tailgate Thursday, presented by your friends at Green Heating and Cooling. We're the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
When you get hurt from an accident, it can feel like no one is listening to you. The insurance company talks over you. The bills keep coming. It's like the pain and inconvenience doesn't even matter to them. But your story does matter. And here at Geiger Legal, we will make sure your story is heard loud and clear. My name is Casey Geiger, and my firm stands up for people who have been wronged through someone else's negligence. Let us tell your story. Let us get the justice you deserve, and let's start today.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG. That's 833-HELP-GLG, and let us tell your story today.
Morning Grind with Pork Rinds.
Welcome to the show.
It's the Morning Rant, weekday mornings from 10 to 11 on 98.1, 93.7, and 101.1 on the H2 dial. WPGY, the Sports Pig.
Back here on a Tailgate Thursday, Dave Garner with you till 11 o'clock, along with the Golden Boy, Will Cooper, as we get set to talk a little bit more about the Cooper Predictor, a weekly segment right here that we typically have on Fridays, but we moved it to today because we will be on location tomorrow over at Foundation Wealth in Dalton, and looking forward to hanging out with Joel and Eric and Dakota and the rest of the team over there. We will be in Dalton tomorrow from 10 to 11 live. We'll hang out for a little while, probably close to lunchtime. So if you're in the area tomorrow, please stop by and say hello. We would love to have you as we bring you another live on-location edition of the Morning Rant. It will be our Friday happy hour edition of the show presented by your friends at the pub in LJ. We were talking about NASCAR, and of course we are the home of all cup races right here on the Sports Pig. You can download the app, listen to the stream, listen to us over the dial, anywhere you may be, to catch all of not only the Atlanta Braves games, but also Sunday cup racing as well. Right now, Tyler Reddick still 386 points, still a sizable lead over Ryan Blaney right now in the cup standings. Again, they'll be in Kansas this Sunday, and we'll have that race for you right here. A little bit closer to home, our very own Chandler Smith still leading the truck standings, but the gap has narrowed. Again, Chandler right now just a point better than Honeycutt. You've got Hyman there as well at 204 along with the Riggs. So, again, Chandler with 208 points, 1 win, 3 top 5 so far on the season, having a great year. So, again, kudos to our boy from Talking Rock, Georgia. Again, Chandler Smith leading the Craftsman Truck Series standings right now in the world of NASCAR. And, again, as we talked about, NASCAR Sunday, 2 p.m., Kansas is where they are on to now. And then after that, it's Dega, baby. Spring race at Talladega. Always a cultural experience if you've never been to Talladega. But I guess that's Alabama for you.
Yeah, look, the entire state of Alabama is a cultural experience for anybody who's never been. The only thing I would equate it to maybe South Louisiana.
Oh my goodness! Yes. Hey, and you know what? I tell you, anybody that I've ever met from Slidell, Louisiana, has always been kind of a little bit nuts. You know, I don't know. There's just they need to put a fence around that place because I mean it's just crazy at this point. But
there's something in the pond water over there.
I think there is. Yeah. So any of our friends that may be listening remotely, online from Louisiana or whatever, if you want to chime in and let us know. But yeah, man, I don't know if I've ever met a normal person from Slidell. But again, you get down there in some of that Cajun country, man, things get crazy in a hurry. I mean, that's
imagine what you actually have to do to get arrested in Slidell. I know they have a police force down there, but imagine the crazy stuff you would have to do to get arrested. I mean it's like the Purge down there most of the time.
I mean, that's French and redneck, put together. I mean, that's a hygiene nightmare waiting to happen right there. So again, folks, oh man, I tell you what, NASCAR talk right here on the Sports Pig, baby. Let's get it going right here. Hey, speaking of, let's run some things. We got less than 10 minutes right here before Chuck Oliver takes over the airwaves here on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. Let's talk a little bit about that Cooper Predictor.
It's time for the weekly Cooper Predictor.
60% of the time, it works every time.
On the Morning Rant.
All right, so we've run some things through it. We've got a little bit of a sample size of baseball. May not quite be there yet, but I can tell you this, folks. Once we get that sample size, and Coop, once you're ready to launch it, man, I mean, be ready. I mean, be ready to dig into your wallet a little bit because, man, you're gonna do it up.
Yeah, baseball this year has had the most parity that we've ever seen. I mean, the difference between the bottom of the NL East to the Braves is 4 games. The Dodgers are real close with the Padres and Diamondbacks. And the problem is when there's no separation, it's hard to find out where the edge is. So the predictor is above average, but I just don't feel good about bringing it to you when I got a tennis predictor here, guys, that's hitting 72.8%. If you had followed me for the last 8 days and bet $10, you would be up $173.
Ooh, okay.
So, I don't want to bring you anything that's not top level. So I got a few picks for you here, really a couple. This afternoon slate, this is going to be in the Challenger Aureus for tennis. It's Luca Van Asch. We like him. He's a minus 209 favorite right now. And Nicholas Jarry is the other one that I would tell you all I feel pretty good about as well. Also, there's some opportunities in Challenger Tallahassee for any of our friends down in Florida. Mitchell Kruger going up against Tyler Zink. That looks like a good one for Mitchell Kruger.
Right.
So those are our free picks for the day.
Yeah, free picks for the day right there, presented by your friends at the Cooper Predictor, especially our guy, the Golden Boy, Will Cooper, the creator of the model that has worked in, so many ways over the years, whether it be high school football. It started, we told the story, I think, last week or the week before about how it kind of all started, and then you've just kind of continue to take it back to the lab over time and refine it even more. And so, yeah, man, I definitely, you've made a believer out of me, and we like to poke fun at each other between you and I, and of course our buddy Art Mosley, who we talk a lot about around here on the program. But yeah, you've made a believer out of me, man, and I think even Art to a certain extent too, because we get to where now we pick your brain in the group chat pretty much about anything. So, hey, kudos to you.
And I've shared my spreadsheet with you guys, so you can verify that I'm not just blowing smoke up, about what I'm doing.
You finally won us over. It took a while. It took a little bit, but you finally won us over. So, yeah. Hey,
my whole adult life, I've been trying to win you guys over, and we finally got it.
You have been trying to seek our approval for most of your adult life, and you finally have it because I'm just messing with you. But no, the Cooper Predictor is definitely a lot of fun right here. Hey, again, this is the Tailgate Thursday edition of the program. We've had so much fun here today. I forgot to share our social media. I do want to do that real quick, and then we're going to dive in to a little bit of the antitrust talk real quick here with the NFL as we wrap up before Chuck Oliver. But again, visit us on social media. Want to encourage folks. The Sports Pig is on Facebook. Our show, The Morning Rant, is on Instagram. You can also watch full video episodes of the show daily on YouTube. They're all free. No subscription service needed. The podcast version of the show also free on the Morning Rant. It's on sportspigradio.com and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast on both Apple and Android platforms, Spotify, Podbean, you name it. You can also catch me on Twitter at Dave Garner 777. He's at Will WIL24 Cooper, right? So again, I got that right. And so interact with us on social media, reach out to us, message us, join the conversation. Eventually, like we talked about, we'll have a phone line or we'll have a way to do stuff. Because here's the thing, and I said this last week, I'm up here, I'm staring at the wall right now. I've got a list of concerts that are happening this summer, basically starting next month. I mean, they're starting in the spring. I mean, in May, we're going to start promoting concerts right here on the Sports Pig. And I've got a list of shows up here right now that we're going to be, possibly giving tickets away to. I know Motley Crue's coming in August, but there's some stuff coming up a little more recent than that. Black Crowes, Dave Matthews Band, different things like that. So between this station and our sister station, 101.1 The Pulse, which is a little bit more country slanted, but the rock stuff tends to fall to the Sports Pig, right? It just fits our personality. But again, so we're going to be doing some different things. So be sure to interact with us on social media because that's where a lot of those ticket giveaways and contests are going to happen. Because we're only on the air for an hour every day. Maybe we'll expand that at some point. But we do want you guys to be able to take advantage of some of the tickets and things. Of course, we're a Braves affiliate, as we talked about, NASCAR. We've partnered with Atlanta United. We haven't really talked a lot of soccer lately. We'll get into that as well. But again, we are your home for a lot of different things, and ticket giveaways is one of those things. So definitely pay attention, engage with us, go follow, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And again, we're usually pretty responsive. So if you want to chime in about a topic that we've talked about, please feel free to do that. Speaking of course, the NFL draft is coming up and rapidly approaching within the next, 10 days or so, something like that. So again, we're going to kind of gear the conversation, especially with Big John Davis, about the draft, and we talk strategy and those sorts of things. Obviously, spring football practice as well. But again, the Department of Justice, and I've talked about this all week with the other guys, so I'll give you, Coop, a chance to chime in as well as we wrap up here today. But again, your thoughts, DOJ launching an investigation into the NFL, along with the FCC, about antitrust possible violations there with all the different streaming services, and basically, pushing folks into a situation where they got to pay for multiple platforms to watch games.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do it with all the sports. I mean, we talk about it with the NBA, got to have an Amazon Prime account to watch some of the playoff games. The NHL is the only one that's centralized, man. I mean, you can watch it ESPN, boom, we got it.
Right.
But even MLB, I mean, we all bought Braves Vision, and I'm trying to find the game last Sunday, and it's on Peacock. It's on NBC. Can't do it. Yeah. Same thing as this Sunday. I'm not going to be able to watch it because I refuse to sign up and pay for a cable service when the only thing that I watch is the Braves in the summer.
Yeah.
Now, I'll sign back up for a streaming service when we get to football season because of college football, not necessarily the NFL. But, yeah, I mean, all of these sports need to have this overlooked and say, if you spend $20 a month, you should be able to watch your team.
Right.
That's it, man.
Period.
I mean, this is just getting out of control, and it's not like the advertisers aren't picking up the bill for you.
Right. Yeah. No doubt about it right there. Again, some good final thoughts right there. Once again, Will Cooper, our man, the Golden Boy, bringing it right here on a Tailgate Thursday presented by your friends at Green Heating and Cooling. Coop, hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for bringing it once again right here on the Morning Rant, partner.
Hey, thanks for having me, Good.
There we go. Again, same time, same channel, as they say, tomorrow. The Morning Rant live from Foundation Wealth in Dalton, Georgia. Join us from 10 to 11 on the dial at 98.1 and 93.7. Also, 101.1 on the HD2 dial for those fortunate few that have HD radio in their car or wherever you may be. Again, visit us on our social media, the Morning Rant with clips on Instagram, full video episodes daily as well on YouTube. Chuck Oliver up next right here with Southern Sports Today, the king of college football. And as we wrap up, we always say, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. There you go. We'll see you tomorrow morning right here on the Morning Rant on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. We'll see you tomorrow.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, where hot takes meet hot mics.